Hi everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel for Clean Homes. In this video, I am going to talk about what it takes to build a home from start to finish, a mold-free, chemical-free home, like a general guide to it. Um, so when you build a home, there's a lot of development that's actually involved before you actually build the home. A lot of planning, a lot of rules with the county, a lot of things that you need to do to prepare to build a home, especially if you're building a chemical-free, mold-free home or as best as possible, a healthy home that's as chemical-free and mold-free as best as you can get. So before you get started, the first thing that you usually want to look for is the land. And when you look for land for chemical-free, mold-free home, there are certain aspects that you want to look out for, including making sure the land is flat, making sure there are utilities there, making sure that there's no wetlands, making sure it's a dry area. Things like that are things like tips that you can look out for. And when you try to also build on a hillside, you're creating a lot of other challenges as well if the land is not completely flat. So I highly recommend trying to look for flat land. So let's say then, okay, you found the land, you bought the land. Next step then would be that you need to start putting the design together and the materials list together and the plans together. So before you can legally build anything, you need to get a building permit. So to get a building permit, you need to submit plans to the county, which can include a lot of different things. So before that happens, you need to first, ideally find an architect, a draftsman, to help you with the design and the plans, and with possibly a contractor with some of these things as well. So things to keep in mind when you're putting the design and plans together are, what is going to make your home not only just stable from a structural standpoint, but also withstand things like mold from coming in and insulate it correctly. So there are a lot of really good resources and YouTube videos for that, but there are certain ways you can insulate to make everything a lot more, to prevent mold from happening. And then as far as the materials list go, you can get non-toxic paint, you can get non-toxic, wood without finishing, you can get tile that's non-toxic. Like there's all kinds of ways to make your home non-toxic. It's just doing all of these things. So these are the things that you need to plan beforehand. So after you, let's say, do all of that, then there are other things that you need to do, such as geological reports, getting either a septic tank or a well, doing the perk test, getting the fire department to check for, making sure that everything looks right, the structural engineer. So there are a lot of things that you need to submit. Depends on the county. You have to check with the county before you can get the build actual going. But in this planning stage, is actually where you set everything up and you go through everything methodically. You can test materials, you can sample it to make sure that you don't react to it. You could, use certain building practices, again, to make sure that it can withstand moisture and mold from coming in, set up air purifiers when you actually do the build, and things like that. There are a lot of ways to make a mold-free, chemical-free home. It's actually not, the reality is it's not as difficult as people think. It just takes some work, and it takes somebody who's willing to do the work to make it happen. It's just a lot of times, a lot of builders, a lot of people, don't know how to do it, but even more so won't care to do it and just want to make something cheaply. So it's if you want to do the work, or you want someone like me or my company to help you do the work, or you can get a guide that actually I'm going to put into the description below to do it on your own, that can help you through this. You can do it, and it's very possible. Again, there's no such thing as perfect. Like if a 200-mile-per-hour hurricane came in, it could blow your house or anything. But you make it as best as possible and eliminate as much risk as possible. So once all that's together, then you go through the build. And when you go through the build, this is really, again, you test material. You make sure that everything is insulated correctly to prevent mold. You put in the insulation in the walls of where you want to be and do things. And then when you actually have the house, you can set up a lot of air purification systems and do things to really prevent and lower the moisture that can be created in the place. And then as far as the chemical side, like I said, test the materials. If a material comes and you react to it, then find another material. But to save on cost, I would sample everything. And most places, you know, you can get a sample for free, or if not $5, $10, something really, really minimal. And this is basically doing all your due diligence ahead of time. So to make sure that you know like what's going on before, like before you build, to make sure to do it as best as possible. Um, and on top of that, when you actually there are elements of the industry where it might be a little harder to find something more free, or chemical free, sorry, or it'd be super expensive. Well, there are ways of off gassing it, and there are tips. And again, I provide this in my guide, a more thorough explanation of this. But also, you can try to finish something with non-toxic material. So let's say something has some chemicals. If you finish it with non-toxic material, or I'm sorry, non-toxic paint or non-toxic finishing, and let it off gas, it can a lot of times offset all those chemicals as well. So this is just kind of a brief general information. If you want more information, I'm going to provide a link to my guide below that you can get, that can possibly help you build, or my company can help you with the process of building a mold-free, chemical-free home from start to finish, including helping you with all the development work and providing you a safe and healthy place to live. So hope this helps. I know it's a very general guide, general brief, but gives you a little bit of tips. And like I said, more information below in my guide below. And don't forget to subscribe.